Welcome back to this series of tutorials. So from the previous tutorial, we managed to build a job that successfully loaded all of the contents of the transactions files to the database. That is our transactions database. So for this solution, what we are going to do is to start making use of this log table. Right now we know that we don't have anything from this log table. So what we're going to do is to implement a solution that does a lookup from this table and loads only all the files that are not already loaded in the database table. So what we're going to do is to just select file name from log table. Okay, let's copy it. What we're going to do is before this input is the output of tIterate flow is passed to tflow to iterate. What we're going to do is to implement a lookup here, a lookup solution. So we're going to use a tMySQLInput. And what we're going to do is use the existing connection, and the component is the table is transactions, and for the query, I already copied the query, so I'm going to do this. Select file name from log table, and I'm going to paste the schema. Let's just give it a second, and okay, so it's file name. Click OK, and let me just remove this connection here. Let me do this. I'm going to use a tJoin component here. And then we're going to pass it here main. So only tJoin, there can only be one main component. The rest will be lookup. So even if you select main, it will just become a lookup connection to the tJoin component. So let's start configuring this component. So there's include lookup columns in output, and there's inner join with rejects output. So we're going to select this one because what we need is going to be an inner join reject. Let's edit the schema. So for tIterate flow is going to pass file name and file path, and the tDB input is going to just to return a file name, and then we're going to do a lookup between the file name from the tDB input and the file name from the tIterate to flow. And we're going to click OK here, and the input key attribute here is going to be file name, and from the lookup key attribute is going to be the file name from the database. So this one is the file name here is the file name from the tIterate to flow, and this one is the file name from the database. So what we are passing on to tflow to iterate is the inner join reject. That's what we're going to pass here, the inner join reject. So let's go back to tJoin here, and we'll configure it once again. tJoin is going to, the output here is going to be, so we're going to select this one here, copy all columns from the input schema to output schema. We're going to select that one and then click OK. So the output for the tJoin is going to be file name and file path again, but this time it is going to be the file name and file path for all the files that are not already loaded in the database. So we're going to click OK. Would you like to propagate changes? Yes. Now from tflow to iterate, so it seems we are good to go. Yeah, it's going to be the file name, and for the file path we're going to take the file path as well. File path. So we are now good to go. This means now we've implemented the lookup solution to our job. Now let's run it. Let's run this job. So we're going to run our job. Let's just click clear here. tMySQLInput input. Let me first truncate my table. Let me truncate the transaction table. Truncate table. Yes. And I've selected everything here. You can see that now there's nothing in this table. And let me run this job. Okay, so as you can see that here there's 0 rows. There's actually we know that there's nothing within the log table, and 3 rows have been executed. And if you go back to this table and run it, we can see that 19, 20, 21 transactions have been executed within this table. So for now, we're not going to do the component way or to load the file name dynamically, but what we're going to do, let's just input, let's just do that code input to this table. So we're going to do an insert into log table file name, and for the values we're going to pass transactions _1 dot CSV. And let me run it, and let me select everything from that table so that you can see that these select everything from log table. As you can see now, within this table, we now have a file name that's transaction1.csv. Let me go back to this table and truncate it once again. Truncate table. As you can see, there's now nothing within this table. So let me clear here. Now, if we run this job, will run 2 files only, transaction 2 and transaction 3, because this lookup functionality is going to say, okay, within this table here, this log table, I have got 1 file, but from the iterate to flow output, I have got 3 files, transaction 1, transaction 2, and transaction 3. But here we've selected the inner join reject. This means that we're going to have 2 files. 1 file is going to be 2 files that are going to be rejected. That's transaction 2 and transaction 3. So if we run this this job here, now as you can now see, there is now 1 row, and even if you take a look at the inner join reject, it's now returning 2 rows, and this means the only transaction 2 and transaction 3 have been executed. Even if you take a look at our database now, there is transactions for 20 and 21. Transactions for 19 have been skipped since the input from that file has not been executed, as the job is saying that that file is already loaded. So that's it for this tutorial, guys. For the next tutorial, we'll be doing this solution to load the new file to the database, we'll be doing it dynamically. See you on the next tutorial.